Hello, and welcome to MIT D-Lab online course on participatory design for development. My name is Saida Benhayoune, and I am the Scale-Ups Program Director at MIT D-Lab. I'm very pleased to welcome you to the first cohort of this online course. This is a very exciting experimental project for us, as this is a new way for MIT D-Lab to dispense knowledge. So thank you for taking the journey with us. Before telling you a bit more about the course, I would like to explain why we decided to launch an online course on participatory design. Well, as most of you probably know, solutions that have been designed for the West often do not fit the needs of people living in poverty. So practitioners from all around the world, whether from business, NGOs, or social ventures or government, have been working with participatory design as a way to develop products, solutions, or programs that are more appropriate for people living at the base of the pyramid. Despite all this experimentation, there is still a gap in research and evidence and just documentation of lessons learned around what works and what doesn't in this field. At MIT D-Lab, we've been working over the last decade to develop curriculum and deliver trainings in participatory design through our International Development Design Summits and our Creative Capacity Building Program, all with the aim of using participatory design to improve not only the outcomes of development, but also the practice and the process of development. And while we reach more than 1,000 people with our trainings, we realized and we acknowledge that there is a broad audience out there, particularly of practitioners who work in large organizations and cannot afford to take a week or two to come to a design summit, who could benefit from this knowledge. So we decided to pack what we know in this online course and put it out there for your feedback. And we're also looking at this as an opportunity to initiate a dialogue and start to construct conversation around participatory design for development. A few disclaimers about the course. First of all, it is a pilot. And what that means is that it's a limited cohort. There is about 50 of you taking this course for the first edition, and most of you come from the Practical Impact Alliance member organizations. It is a DIY production. We haven't put a lot of resources in the production of this course, and that's intentional because we want to first get your feedback and improve it before we put more effort in developing it. There will be some constraints on materials accessibility. You as participants will have access to the course materials on Basecamp after the course is complete, but we will take them offline and we will continue working on them to improve them. And that's why your feedback is so important. We will be seeking your feedback along the course and at the end, and we hope that you will give us your feedback so we can make this pilot better. The content of the course is centered around MIT D-Lab's know-how. There are multiple organizations out there that specialize in the work around participatory design, and many in the context of international development. We chose to center the content of this course around what we know, what we've gathered in terms of our experimentation and our learning. We will touch upon different approaches to participatory design, but we will focus on the practice of co-design, which is a methodology that D-Lab has developed further. And finally, this is not a training of trainers, meaning that somebody who takes this course online is not going to be at the end necessarily qualified to dispense the content of this course to others. So we ask if you are interested in training others to get in touch with us and work with us on that. There are a few design choices that we made in the development of this course, and one of them is that most of the content is delivered in video format. This is because we know that we are addressing a very wide audience from all over the world for whom English might not be the first language, and we think that video might be more accessible. What this means is that you have to listen to the videos to get access to the content. You will not get the full picture by reading the PDFs. The second point has to do with the tension between the participatory nature of the content and the online delivery mechanism. In everything that MIT D-Lab does around the world, we do bring people together especially for our summits, and that has a very strong human component that we lose inevitably through an online course. We've been trying to mitigate that through various strategies in the design of this course, and we hope to test that with you and get your feedback and continue to improve on it. Third, practice is important. We have designed assignments for each of the sessions to allow you to practice the concept that you are going to be learning. It is important that you take the time to complete the assignments, as you will not get the full benefit of the course if you don't. And finally, we designed this course also to be an opportunity for dialogue, to connect a community of practitioners that are interested to learn from each other on participatory design. So we facilitated a few forums and platforms for you to connect, and we hope that you'll take advantage of those. So who is this course for? This course is primarily for beginners in participatory design. You may have some training or have had some experience, but if you're taking this course because you are mostly interested in developing a training, keep in mind that this is a beginner level course. It's a course that has been anchored in international development, so it's geared towards an audience that works in that field. It doesn't mean that the concepts do not apply to other fields, but it is speaking to an audience that works in international development. It doesn't matter what sector or industry you come from. We actually are welcoming a diversity in the participant pool, and we have worked to get people from the private sector, from NGOs, from government, and from social ventures. Finally, this is a course that gears towards practitioners and particularly people who are looking to take the learnings from the course and apply them to a particular project as participants or as designers of a participatory design experience. So now that you can identify yourself in our target audience, here are some of the course objectives. By the end of this course, we anticipate that you should be able to understand and distinguish between the different approaches of participatory design. You should be able to get oriented on which approach to use in what specific context. As we will be focusing on the MIT D-Lab co-design methodology, you will gain knowledge and practice in that specific methodology. Along the course, we will be sharing with you a battery of exercises and tools. So by the end of the course, you should be able to form your own toolkits of preferred participatory design exercises. By the end of the course, we also expect you to become better prepared to engage more effectively in a participatory design experience, but we also hope that you will get inspired to design and implement your own participatory design project. And most importantly, we hope that you will be having fun along the process. So this is what this course will cover. It will be a 6-week course with 1 session per week. The first session is an introduction to participatory design. We will share with you our philosophy around it. We will explain the difference between the various approaches, and we will introduce you to the various steps of the design process. By the end of this session, you should be able to identify a project from your own work that you would like to apply the learnings to along the course. The second session will be focused on team formation and mindsets. In this session, we will work on how to form your team, who should be on your team, and what mindset should you work on to become a more effective design team, and how to go about that. The third session will delve in information gathering and problem framing. We will share with you tools and techniques to organize your information gathering process so that you can zoom in on the part of the problem that you can solve best with your design team. The fourth session will get into ideation and concept selection. In this session, we'll share with you a variety of techniques to do ideation in a group. We'll also talk about methods to get to consensus in order to put forward 1 or 2 concepts to experiment on. The fifth session We'll talk about prototyping and user feedback. We will review a variety of fast prototyping techniques, but we'll also talk about sketch modeling, which is important to prototype ideas that might not be hardware-based. We'll talk about your approach to user feedback, how to plan for it, and how to implement it. The last session will be focused on measuring impact and reflection. In this session, we'll share with you how here at MIT D-Lab we go about measuring the impact of our participatory design work, and we'll give you pointers on how to design and implement your own monitoring and evaluation plan for your participatory design project. It will also be your opportunity to reflect on your learning experience and to take inventory of your takeaways. How will you take this course? Well, starting on Monday, September 11, and on every following Monday, you'll be able to download the course materials related to your session. We encourage you to do so early in the week because we want to get in your questions before the live session. We will be taking questions all week, but we will give priority to the questions that are submitted before 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to be addressed in the live session on Thursday. Each Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll be hosting a live session where the instructors and sometimes guest speakers will be discussing some of your questions and also sharing with you case studies that anchor the learnings that have been shared in the course materials. We will ask you to complete and submit your assignment by midnight on Sunday, and we will be reviewing all the assignments and providing feedback as needed. And I can't stress it enough, your feedback is very important. So for each session, we will ask you to fill in a short questionnaire to give us your feedback on that specific session, and that will allow us to adjust and improve as we go. Finally, how to connect. As I mentioned before, this course is also an opportunity to connect with other people who are interested in this field. So we created a LinkedIn group that we hope you would use to connect and engage with each other. You can start conversations or discussions on LinkedIn or check each other's profile and connect appropriately. We would use Basecamp as a documentation repository mechanism. It will contain all the course documentation, and we would encourage you to upload any resources that you find interesting to share with your fellow participants or with the instructors. We will take in questions through the question forum in the form of a Google Sheet, and you will be able to review all the questions and all the answers submitted. Finally, we're also reachable via email. You can reach the instructors for specific questions about your project or for questions that you prefer not to post online. And this is the crew behind the course. It's a dozen of us from MIT D-Lab and other partner organizations who have been working to put this course together for you in the last few months. We very much look forward to having you on board and getting to know you over the next few weeks. So thank you for taking this journey with us, and we look forward to starting work with you.